We call it the graveyard of the Atlantic, a 500,000 square mile patch of ocean bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico that has, according to official and unofficial records, swallowed over 1,000 ships and planes in the last century alone. Most people think the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is a relic of the 1970s, a myth manufactured for a sensation-loving public. But if it's just a myth, why does the United States Navy operate a multi-billion-dollar, highly classified facility right in the heart of it? A place so secretive it's nicknamed the Underwater Area 51. In December 1945, 5 Navy bombers took off into a clear blue sky and simply ceased to exist. When a rescue plane was sent to find them, it vanished too. Not a single scrap of metal, not a single life jacket, and not a single drop of oil was ever recovered. These men didn't just crash, they fell off the face of the earth. Today, in 2026, we are looking past the ghost stories. We are investigating the declassified transcripts of Flight 19, the terrifying electronic fog that allowed one pilot to travel 100 miles in seconds, and the secrets of the AUTEC naval base, where the military is allegedly testing technology that interacts with the very fabric of space and time. Is the triangle a natural anomaly, or is it a laboratory for something the world isn't ready to see? To understand the weight of this mystery, we have to revisit December 5, 1945. World War II had just ended. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, known as Flight 19, took off from Fort Lauderdale for a routine navigational training exercise. The weather was fair, the pilots were experienced. Their leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, had over 2,500 hours of flying time. But 90 minutes into the flight, something went wrong. Radio operators began to hear Taylor's voice, not with authority, but with sheer, naked confusion. He reported that both of his compasses had failed. He told the tower, "Everything looks strange, even the ocean." In a final, spine-chilling transmission that has been analyzed by researchers for 80 years, one pilot was heard saying, "We are entering white water. Nothing seems right. We don't know where we are. The water looks different." White water in the middle of the deep Atlantic. The Navy immediately launched a PBM Mariner flying boat with 13 crew members to find them. Within 20 minutes of takeoff, the rescue plane also vanished. 6 aircraft and 27 men were gone in a single afternoon. The official Navy report listed the cause as reasons unknown. Skeptics argue that Taylor got confused and flew his squadron into the open ocean until they ran out of fuel. But that doesn't explain the lack of debris. These planes were built to float. Even if they ditched, they should have left a trace. And it certainly doesn't explain the 13-ton rescue plane that vanished without even a distress call. It was as if a hole had opened in the sky and simply closed behind them. Long before Flight 19, the Triangle had already claimed its biggest victim, the USS Cyclops. In March 1918, during World War I, this 540-foot steel giant, the Navy's largest and fastest fuel ship, departed from Barbados with 309 souls and 11,000 tons of manganese. It was a colossus of its time, a ship that shouldn't be able to disappear, but it did. The last message from the Cyclops was, "Weather fair, all well." She was expected in Baltimore 9 days later. She never arrived. The Navy scoured the route for months. They found nothing. No oil slicks, no empty life rafts, and no floating debris. In the history of the U.S. Navy, this remains the largest non-combat loss of life. Over a century later, sonar scans and underwater surveys have failed to locate even a single bolt from the Cyclops. What makes this even weirder is the Proteus pattern. The Cyclops had 3 sister ships of the exact same design: the Nereus, the Proteus, and the Jupiter. In a coincidence that defies all statistical probability, both the Nereus and the Proteus also vanished without a trace in the exact same region of the triangle during World War II. Only the Jupiter survived, and only because it had been converted into an aircraft carrier and moved to a different theater of war. Did these ships suffer from a structural flaw, or did they encounter something in those waters that specializes in making large metal objects disappear? This brings us to a phenomenon that might actually explain how these vanishings occur. In 1970, a pilot named Bruce Gernon was flying his Beechcraft Bonanza from the Bahamas to Florida. As he approached Bimini Island, he noticed a strange elliptical cloud that seemed to be rapidly growing. As he entered the cloud, he described the interior as dark and black, but filled with extraordinarily bright white flashes of light that weren't lightning. Then the cloud formed a tunnel. Gernon flew through the tunnel for 20 seconds. He described a feeling of weightlessness and increased forward momentum. When he emerged on the other side, the electronic fog was gone, and he was surrounded by a dull gray mist. He checked his clock and his coordinates. According to his instruments, he was already over Miami. A flight that normally took 75 minutes had been completed in 47 minutes. He had skipped 100 miles of space and nearly half an hour of time. When he landed, he found he had more fuel than expected, confirming that the plane hadn't just flown faster, it had traveled less distance. Scientists who analyzed Gernon's report noted that at the time of his flight, the sunspot number was 84, and a large solar wind was creating a massive disturbance in the Earth's magnetosphere. This suggests the possibility of a magnetic portal, a flux transfer event where the fabric of space-time becomes thin enough for an object to slip through. Gernon believed Flight 19 flew into this fog, but wasn't as lucky. They didn't emerge in Florida, they emerged somewhere else entirely. Now, we must ask, does the government know about these portals? Deep in the Bahamas, on Andros Island, sits the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, or AUTEC. Officially, it's a facility used to test submarine technology and undersea weaponry, but its location is strategically chosen. It sits right on the edge of the tongue of the ocean, a U-shaped underwater canyon that drops to depths of 6,000 feet. AUTEC is one of the most advanced laboratories in the world. It's capable of tracking 63 in-water objects simultaneously with absolute precision. But it's also the center of thousands of reports of unidentified submerged objects, or USOs. Witnesses, including former base employees and commercial pilots, have reported seeing glowing crafts rise out of the deep waters of the tongue of the ocean and accelerate to lunatic speeds before disappearing. Some researchers believe that the military isn't just studying submarines at AUTEC, they are studying the very magnetic anomalies that Bruce Gernon encountered. Is it possible that the U.S. Navy is using the natural vortexes of the Bermuda Triangle as a testing ground for anti-gravity propulsion or interdimensional travel? If you had a region of the world where physics naturally breaks down, wouldn't that be the perfect place to hide your most impossible projects? The extreme secrecy of the base, combined with the geographical anomalies of the canyon, makes AUTEC the definitive underwater Area 51. The Bermuda Triangle remains a jagged hole in our understanding of the natural world. Whether it's methane hydrates erupting from the seabed, 30-degree magnetic variations, or classified military experiments, one thing is certain: those waters do not follow our rules. We may never find the wreckage of Flight 19 or the hull of the USS Cyclops. Perhaps they're not on the ocean floor at all. Perhaps they're still out there, caught in the white water, in a place where time doesn't exist and the maps are blank. Sometimes the truth is more unsettling than the legend, And some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, only uncovered. The Bermuda Triangle may have been just the beginning. There are still sealed files, unfinished reports, and unanswered questions waiting in the dark. If you want to keep exploring the unknown with me, make sure to subscribe. Share your theories in the comments. What do you think is really happening out there? And now it's your turn. Which file should we open next? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next investigation.